Okay, so in this video, I'm going to tell you all the different ways and show you all the different ways that I'm using AI to enhance my renders, speed up my workflow, make things easier, faster, better, unique, all that kind of stuff. So when I first started seeing all this AI stuff pop up, I was actually quite scared about it because, I think a lot of people are afraid of this stuff replacing us and just, making the thing that we've worked for years useless. But I started messing around with Midjourney, and I realized that I was only scared of it because I didn't actually understand what it was capable of and what it could do and what it was good at and what it wasn't good at. And so as soon as I started using it and understanding what it was capable of and what it could do, I realized that it's is not that much to be scared of. And I started using all these different tools to help me create artwork faster and better and use it for things I couldn't do before. And it actually is a tool that I use all the time now. And so in this video, I'll show you what I use it for. And let's just get into it. So the first thing is, I found it's been very useful using Midjourney to generate textures, and I've done a video on that before, but I'll show you exactly what I mean by that here. So in Midjourney here, I can say, let's say I want, there's two ways that you can do this, or two main ways that I do this. One is using it to generate emissive textures like this. So for example, the eye and all the emissive patterns and lines and stuff in the middle. Those are all from Midjourney images layered on top of each other, and then that's running into the emission and the alpha. I can show you the blend file for this in a second, but I'll just show you what I mean exactly. And then the second way that I've been using it to generate textures is you can use it to generate patterns and symbols and just crazy intricate, like ancient looking patterns and stuff, and you can use that as either color maps or bump maps or roughness maps, any of that kind of stuff. So I'll show you those two things right here. So the first thing is, let's just jump into Midjourney. I'll show you, say I want some emissive thing. We'll go /imagine, and we can do maybe something like this, where in this one here, I didn't actually use, this is not AI generated, this thing in the middle, this glowing thing, but I say I want something like that, and I just want to quickly use Midjourney to make something like that. So we'll do a glowing, how about iridescent, that is not how you spell that, iridescent ring of light on a black background. And I think this needs to be thin here, and we'll just try that and see what it does. Might take a few attempts to get something that's going to work in Blender, but I'll just fire away and just see what it gives me, and then I can use that as a texture and bring it into 3D and do some really cool stuff with that. Okay, so it gave me this here, which is on the right track, but not quite what I wanted. So I'll try and refine this, and I'll just go, okay, let's go glowing iridescent thin ring. It's kind of interpreting as a, I don't know, like in a 3D space. So maybe I'll change that to circle. That might help. And then I also want it a bit brighter and more bloomy. So we'll go maybe brightly glowing ring. See if that helps. I'll just send that in. And I'm waiting for it, but I'm just cutting out the parts where it's actually loading it. Okay, so there we go. I think I can probably work with this here. It's not the greatest use of AI ever, but I'll just take it here. Maybe let's do some variations of this one here actually. So maybe instead of upscaling that, I might just take the fourth one here, and I want it to be like some more like stuff emitting off of it. So I wonder what would be a good way to do that. Maybe, how about if I just add the word magical in here? Let's see what that does. Okay, so here's what that gave us. And you can see I could just keep going and going and going and refining this and adding things and tweaking it. But I think I'm just going to stop there for this demonstration. This fourth one looks good enough for what I want to show you. So I'll just upscale the fourth one. And then we'll just take that into Blender and throw it onto an image plane. And then just make some kind of thing out of this really quick. So save this. So just click it, right click, save image, or actually I have a Midjourney folder, so I'll just bring it in there. Not even gonna name it, just hit save, cool. And then in Blender, here's what I'm going to do. Let's go to rendered view here. This thing here is just another viewport. I just have the HUD or the GUI, whatever you call it, disabled. You can do that by just clicking all these buttons at the top here. A lot of people have asked me about that. Anyways, let's just start with a ground plane. Let's just cap that right there. And then I'll take by default I have the sky texture on. I don't want that right now because I want it to be dark. Take that out so it's just pitch black. And then let's add another plane, rotate it towards the camera, and then I'll just create a new texture. On that new texture, I'll just grab that. So this thing right here, just drop that into the shader editor, that image I just created in Midjourney, right here, this thing. And then I can just run that straight into, well, let's actually go to render view here too, straight into the emission, whoops, right in there. And then let's just crank that up a little bit. And then also I want it to run into the alpha, because if you notice, if there's an object behind it, you can tell that it's just a square. So I want the black parts of this image to be erased, and I can do that by taking the color and running that directly into the alpha channel here, and there we go. And if I really want to make sure that the darkest parts are fully erased, I can drop a color ramp and just take the left handle here up just a tiny bit, just to make sure it's fully black in there. And I can crunch this a little bit if I want to, or just leave it. I think that's fine. Cool. So just like that, I now have some, glowing ring thing here. And there's a lot of different ways I could go with this. But, for this example, I'll just keep it very simple. Let's say I want this here. And maybe if I extrude this, will it, no. Maybe let's add, I don't like how there's this thin strip along here. Let's see if I can just deal with that by adding a point light, just to kind of compensate for the fact this is like 2D. And I'll just use the eyedropper and just select some pink kind of color that's already in there. Turn the value up, increase this. And then I want the color of this, since it's kind of absorbing some of that light from the point light, I don't really want that to be happening. So I might just take the color of this and run it into the base color. And then even the specular I could adjust if I don't want any reflections. There we go. And then that can just go there. Maybe another one on the top, but doesn't really matter. It's a bit bright, so maybe just take it down to like something else right around there. I don't know if that's helping that much, but that's good enough for now. Let's go 24 millimeters, just because why not? And then on the floor here, let's just do a really quick basic rendery texture. So noise texture, run that to the roughness, detail up, roughness up, color ramp. Boom, just drop that in there, make this dark, and then increase the scale, bring this up, bring this down, and there we go, classic render floor that you see everywhere. Nice. And maybe just mess with the scale to find a nicer spot for that. Something like this is kind of cool. Maybe even take the detail or the roughness up a little bit more. And that's fine. Okay, let's add some volumetrics so it's not so boring. So what I just did there is add a cube and then display as bounds. I've showed this so many times, but I'll keep showing it just because it's going to be new people. The way you do that is you go to visibility. No, sorry, not visibility. Viewport display underneath visibility. So viewport display with that object selected, and then right click the display as and just assign that to one of your shortcuts. So for me, I made the shortcut D on the keyboard, so display as bounds. And then, or you can just change it manually if you want, but I'm just doing it this way because it's faster. Anyways, new texture on that cube. We'll delete this thing. Volume scatter, run it into the volume. Scroll in and out of the viewport to refresh it so it updates it. And then just put in like 0.01 for this, and then turn this up to like 0.7 or 0.8 or something. And that's looking kind of cool. I like that a lot. That point light is adding a bit of nice like glow to this, which is kind of cool. Yeah, sweet. And then from there, there's unlimited ways that I could take this. I could build, this could be some industrial scene with like some glowing thing in the middle. I've done one of those before. Something like this. It could be just crazy in space. It could be, some, Millennium style thing. It could be, there's unlimited ways, unlimited directions you could take this, and that's what's so fun about this is just unlimited possibilities. Yeah, so you can do something like this in a city, like you get the point. There's unlimited directions you can go in with this. I kind of want to just keep going here, but I also want to show you some other examples of how you can use AI. The second thing I mentioned earlier was also using Midjourney to generate intricate patterns and potentially using those as bump maps, normal maps, or just color maps just to enhance textures you already have. So I'll show you that right now. Let's jump into Midjourney again and let's go and create some kind of intricate ancient style pattern. I think that would be sick. I don't know how I'm going to include that in this artwork, but I'm just going to go for it and see what happens. So let's do, I really like these, I've done a lot of these like ancient Aztec style patterns like this kind of stuff is a lot of fun to work with because it's just generating something that it would be so hard to just create on your own. Like, I'm not going to sit there and, make that. So the fact that this thing can just do it for me is just so helpful. Anyways, let's do something like this. So let's go a 2D ancient Aztec style pattern with a circle in the middle. And let's see if that gives me something that I can work with. If not, it's okay. I'll keep trying and just get something that is usable. But, this stuff always takes a few tries. And while I'm at it, let me just look at some of the prompts that I've used in here. The benefit of not naming these two is that it just automatically names it the prompt that you used to create it. So I can actually go back and look at all these that I've saved before. So in this one, I put a 2-dimensional image of an ancient or of an intricate Aztec pattern, and it gave me that. So that's cool. What about something like this? And this one would have been a symbol of a face on a white background made of, I guess it cut it off, but I think I put like extremely intricate patterns or something like that. So I guess it doesn't give you the full name, but it gives you an idea of what you had. Anyways, you can see what this is doing. I don't think I want Aztec style. I think I want just an intricate pattern. Okay, so here's something I just tried, which I think is going more in the direction I want, especially this first and second one. So I'll try some variations of that. I might just hit V1 for variations of the first one, and then it'll just make some more of those. I don't need to do anything else. And then hopefully that will just give me a cool type of pattern that I can just bring into Blender, and I'll show you some other techniques that I can use to, make height maps and all that kind of stuff, or normal maps and stuff. So hopefully that works. So I really like, I think I kind of like all these, so I might just upscale. It's hard to choose. One of these three, the lighting is better on these two, I think, and it might be the best on the third one, so I think I'm going to run with that one. Although it might be better on this one, I don't know. I think the third one's the best, or rather the fourth one, so I'll just upscale number 4, and then we'll take that into Blender, and I'll show you some cool stuff you can do with this. So this, save image, mid-journey folder, save. Cool. I guess I should organize it better because I had a patterns folder or whatever. Anyways, let's take that. You know what I might do is add a circle for this, and let's increase the vertices to 64. And then I just want to take this. Let's go to material preview on this thing, and I'll fill out with a face, inset that, delete that interface, extrude this up so that the normals are the right way. If they're not, if you extrude it down, just press Shift N after, it'll be fine. Anyways, let's take this, and I think I want like a stone texture on this to start. We'll see if that even shows up in this dark render, but I think that's what I want. That's just what I'm kind of feeling. So textures, let's take one from Ambient CG, which is, I guess, this rock 4K. This one will work, so I want this, and I guess the ambient occlusion, although that doesn't really matter here. So import that, and that was, by the way, to automatically import textures like that, you just click on the principled and hit Control-Shift-T. But what I'd recommend beyond that even is just set up the texture once and then put it in your asset browser, which I haven't even done. So I should do that, but I usually just use Quixel. Anyways, I guess I could use Quixel on this. I don't need to do that. I'm just used to using this in videos because I can give away the blend file if I need to, but I don't think I need to in this one. Anyways, let's take this, and I want correct face attributes on, so when I scale around these faces and move them around and slide them, it's not going to stretch out the texture. And then let's make it a bit thinner. And then I just want to bring in, I think I'm just going to bring in that thing I just made, this pattern, and I'm just going to chuck that right on here. So just drop that directly in the shader editor. Come on. Please work. There we go. And then there's a couple things I can do. One, I can kind of, let me actually delete the ambient occlusion here. That doesn't matter at all. Let's take a mix color. So I can either multiply this into the existing color to get like cool marks on it, like this. And I guess I should use a color ramp to, color ramp. to tell it what exactly I want it to do. So like that is pretty cool. And then scale this around on the UV map so it lines up a little bit better with what I wanted. So you can do some stuff like that, although it's not really interacting that nicely with the light. So I guess I should save this. AI demo.blend. Cool. And so what you can do is use this add-on called Deep Bump, which actually uses AI to take images and turn them into normal maps, and it uses AI to somehow figure that out. So what you can do is just click on the texture you want. So this image is this one I have selected, and then just this drop down right here that's color to normals. I'll just hit generate normal map, and then it'll just do its AI thing and just spit out a finished normal map, which is sick. So I could take that and run this into, I think I might even just replace the existing normal map. I could mix them together, but I can't be bothered. So just run that straight in here. And then let's just see if that, yeah, so you can see that's kind of doing what I wanted. Didn't do a fantastic job, but I think it'll be good enough for what I want here. So let me just take these edges and bevel them really quick. And then before I forget, I need to save this normal map. So you can see that actually looks pretty nice in here. I need to save this image, otherwise it will disappear if I don't save it. Yeah, so I'll just, the location it picks is always fine. So just choose that, save, done. And usually I do crank it up a little bit more past 1. So 1.5 or 2 is usually a good spot. Cool. And if I really want, I could mix in the other one, but can't be bothered. Let me bring this down and just kind of bring it into rendered view a little bit so you can see what this is doing. And that is a bit strong. I might just go down back to like 1 or something, or 0.8 even. So I guess it's fine. Let's take a color ramp though and drop that in here and just use that stone texture roughness map to just drive the roughness a little bit more in the direction that I want. So I don't know if it needs to be like this. And then what if it's metallic? Does that look better? Not necessarily, but it's kind of cool to have it metallic, so I'm just gonna leave it. And cool. And so with this, I can even just go in and take, I can, in edit mode with that correct face attributes setting turned on, I can just take this entire thing, duplicate it, scale it down on the X and Y axis, like S, Shift, Z, and I can bring this, this section, oops, let's deselect that bottom part. I guess the bottom wasn't beveled. And we can just take a small ring of something like this, and I can just find that exact spot that I want it to show up on. Cool, and then this, maybe let's just take this, separate by selection, and then just bring that out a little bit. Could bring a part down. And on this too, it's a full 3D model, so I can always take this, extrude certain parts upwards. Extrude upwards. Take this inner ring. Let's just get some kind of texture on there. So just Q project it, just as something. Take these edges. Maybe let's bevel them, and maybe let's even add a couple loop cuts in here. Bevel those. Extrude. Scale them inwards a little bit. Bevel these edges here. So just these inner things like this. Boom, 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 boom. Control B. Just to soften that out a little bit. And this is basically like, if you ever watched an Ian Hubert video, this is basically what he does with textures.com, except we're just taking it to a fun level here, using it with AI generated textures for some really crazy stuff. So let's take this and just bring that in. I just want a little bit more intricateness around this edge here. So along here, let me just see if I can just bring that out to line up a little bit nicer with a spot that I like that maybe. It's kind of cool. Sure. Spin that around a bit and maybe duplicate that one more time and just kind of put it in here somewhere. I really want this to just be extremely intricate. I think it's going to look really nice. So, I don't know, something like that without going too crazy. And then this, I want to line up a little bit nicer if possible, right there, just because there's like kind of a border around there. That's kind of cool. And it's not really lining up with the bottom and the top. It's kind of stretched out, so I'll just scale it on the y-axis to kind of compensate for that a little bit. Otherwise, it's not that noticeable. And let's take all these and just join them back together. So Control J on that. And cool, we've got some kind of It just went dark there. You can just fix that by refreshing the viewport. Now we've got this weird alien-looking ancient engraved ring. I don't really know what this is, but that's going to be a lot of fun to work with and just throw around the scene to just add a ton of details. What if it was behind this? Like, ooh, that might be cool. For this, I might have to take the metallic off, and then I might take an RGB curves, drop that into the base color, and just crank it up so that it's a bit more visible. That's pretty cool, actually. I like that. I do like that a lot. That's kind of dope. And let's parent these lights, Control P, K, keep transform, to this plane. So now when I move that around, it'll just kind of follow it like this. And there we go. So there, there's an example of, I don't always know what I'm doing, but if you just kind of mess around, a lot of the times you'll kind of figure out something that works. And I'm not really sure like what the hell this is. I'm not really sure where this is going, but it's cool. And the fun thing about having this in 3D space is you can do stuff like this where you can really easily just completely change the perspective of everything, which is a huge benefit to working in 3D versus like if you're making this in Photoshop, you can't just do this. You kind of can, but not as fast and as easily as just moving it around like this, So that's really nice, and I do kind of like that. And what happens if I duplicate this entire thing over like this? That's pretty cool. So I'm just trying as many different ideas as possible just to figure out what actually should be going on here. I do want some thing in here like this. Like let's just go object and data, make this, or I guess this texture, make that unique, make this one a little bit dimmer. It's just very bright. What if it was red or like pink? Ooh, I think that's kind of a cool color. Just take that, just copy that, paste it onto this one too, just so everything's matching. I don't know, this is a cool example though of like how you can use one single model generated from some texture you just made and then just duplicate that model a few times and you have some crazy thing that you would never really think to make other than if you just used the stuff that I'm showing here. So I guess that's a cool example, but yeah. Anyways, let's move on to some other ways you can use this stuff. The next big way that I have been using AI to just speed things up and make it easier is for naming artworks. So anytime I'm about to post something on Instagram, I have not named it at all. I'm just like about to post it, and then that's when I'll like think of a name, which, that's just the way I do it. And a lot of the times it's just annoying. Like I don't know. I'm not that good at coming up with names, and sometimes I'll be sitting there for like 10, 15 minutes, sometimes more, just trying to think of a cool name that like fits my render. And, that's not really a good use of time. So a lot of the times what I'll do is just go on ChatGPT, type in, I'll like describe my artwork. So I'll say like, I have an artwork, say I was going to do this one here. I would just type into ChatGPT, I have an artwork of a bunch of metallic rings with intricate patterns and a person standing there in a dark environment. What should I call the artwork? Give me a list of 10 random ideas. And it'll just spit out 10 ideas that fit that kind of vibe, whatever you just described. Or you can, if you're in a certain mood, like sometimes I'll be in like a Dark Souls kind of mood, and I'll just tell ChatGPT, like, give me a made up like location that sounds like it's from Dark Souls, and I'll just run with that. Or maybe it just gives you not exactly what you want, but it could give you a bunch of ideas for potential names, and you can take like a word from one of the ideas or a word from a different idea and combine them. Or there's all sorts of stuff you can do creatively with it from there, but it's giving you a very easy starting point, at least with naming stuff. So that's the way I've been using it, because I just don't like to waste time sitting there on Instagram about to post it, trying to think of a cool name. Not what I like doing. So that helps me out there. Then the last way I've been using AI to just enhance things is, I guess this is not really directly using it, but using other people's AI generated images as a reference photo for my own artwork. So it's not really different than just using a regular artist's reference photo, except this is just an AI version of that. So you can either make your own, which I sometimes do, but a lot of the times if I go to my saved stuff here, a lot of the times I'll just find cool AI stuff that other people have already made and posted, and I'll just stumble upon it like this. And there you go. That's, this can just give you ideas. So if you just follow AI people who just make stuff in Midjourney, you just follow them, they'll just give you cool ideas when they post stuff, and you can just get inspiration from that. So I'll give you an example. This guy, or I guess it's two people, I Am Sentient. They posted, this one. If you look at the way this is set up, we've got like these intricate, weird patterns that are just so strange but cool. It's kind of like in space-ish kind of thing. It's also got these pillars sticking up once in a while, and then it's got some people in the middle, stairs, whatever. So if we look at that and then look at what I posted recently, you can see I definitely was inspired by that when I posted this render. So you can see those patterns. That's not really something that I just thought of randomly. It's something that I found and then took some inspiration from that and used it to create my own original image. And maybe it's pretty obvious that this one was influenced by that image, but it's still unique enough, I think, to where it's still cool to make that. So you can see it's that like weird floor pattern, not the exact same, but a similar style of floating floor pattern in a spacey environment with some pillars sticking up. Same kind of idea, but it's just done in a different enough way where it still feels original, I think, to me. So that's another way that I'm using it. It's just you follow all the guys who are making cool AI shit, and you just look at that. There's tons of inspiration you can get. So I Am Sentient is one. There's another one that I followed recently. Let me find it. It was one of these guys here. Yeah, this guy. Phelim. Yeah, this guy posts tons of cool stuff. Tons of just free inspiration if you just follow this guy. So highly recommend that. I think that's everything I wanted to cover in this video. So that is how I've been using AI to just include in my workflow. So hopefully that gives you some ideas of how you can incorporate it. And honestly, if there's one thing that I'd recommend, if you're somebody who's scared of AI replacing you and you're worried about that, just go and buy Midjourney and start using it. And that way you'll be able to understand what it's capable of. And I think you'll be less scared of it when you do that, because it's not like it's not as good as you think if you've never tried it before. So I would highly recommend just trying it out, and then you might be able to just figure out a way to include it in your workflow like I'm doing here, or maybe it'll just make you less scared of it, and that's fine too. But the point is, it's very easy to fear what you don't understand, and if you've never used this AI stuff at all, you probably don't understand it, and you probably fear it. So I'd recommend just trying it out just to see what it can do, and that'll make you a lot less scared of it. And it's fun. It's a fun tool to use. Like, look at this. It's crazy. Okay, that's it for this video. I don't know. Buy my course. This is not a good. I can't say that. Yeah. If you look in the description of this video, there's a link to a course I've created. If you want to go really in depth into my environment creation process, and you want a bunch of 3D models to go along with that, that's there if you want to check it out. And yeah, hopefully this video inspires you to go and try this stuff out and make some cool stuff. And yeah, I'll see you in some other video. Bye.